Imagine this. You wake up in your bed, and everything seems normal. The sun might be peeking through your curtains, or maybe it's still dark outside. You can see your room, hear the sounds around you, maybe your dog snoring or the TV downstairs, but then you try to move, and nothing happens. Your body won't listen to you. It's like someone hit the pause button on just your muscles, while leaving your brain completely awake. You try to scream for mom or dad, but no sound comes out. And sometimes, just sometimes, you might see or feel something scary in your room that isn't really there. Sounds like a nightmare, right? But here's the thing. It's not a dream. It's something that happens to millions of people around the world. And it has a name. Sleep paralysis. Now, before you get too scared, let me tell you a secret that will make everything better. It's actually your body trying to protect you. But sometimes it gets a little confused about when to do its job. Think of it like this. Your body is like a really fancy robot with lots of special buttons and switches. When you go to sleep, your brain, which is like the robot's control center, needs to flip certain switches to keep you safe. One of these switches turns off your ability to move while you're dreaming. Why? Well, imagine if you could move while dreaming about playing soccer. You might kick your wall or fall out of bed. So your brain, being the smart control center it is, says, nope, we're gonna keep the body still until morning. But sometimes, just like when your tablet glitches and the screen freezes, your brain gets a little mixed up. You wake up, but that don't move switch is still flipped to the off position. Your brain is awake and ready to start the day, but your body is still in sleep mode. It's like when you're playing freeze tag and someone forgets to unfreeze you. Except this time, it's your own body playing the game. What makes this even more interesting, and sometimes scary, is that our brains are incredible storytellers. When something doesn't make sense, like not being able to move when we're awake, our brain tries to come up with an explanation. And because we might still be a tiny bit sleepy, our brain sometimes creates wild stories, like seeing shadows that look like monsters, or feeling like someone is sitting on our chest. It's not real, though. It's just our imagination working overtime, like when you see shapes in the clouds that look like dragons or dinosaurs. The really cool part? Scientists have been studying this for a long time, and they've figured out exactly what's happening in our bodies when this occurs. They know why it happens, when it's most likely to happen, and most importantly, how to make it stop if it ever happens to you. It's like having a secret instruction manual for your body. So let's go on an adventure through the amazing world of sleep and discover all the secrets about sleep paralysis. We'll learn about the special helpers in your brain that control your sleep. Find out why some people get sleep paralysis more than others. Spoiler, it might have to do with how you sleep. Discover what different cultures around the world think about it. Some stories are really wild. And most importantly, learn the super special tricks to make it go away if it ever happens to you. By the end of our journey, you'll be a sleep paralysis expert, and you'll never have to be scared of it again. Let's take a magical journey inside your brain to see how sleep really works. Imagine your brain is like a huge factory with millions of tiny workers. This factory never closes. It works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on Christmas. But just like how factories make different things during the day and night shifts, your brain factory does different jobs when you're awake and when you're asleep. During the day, your brain factory is super busy. The workers are running around making thoughts, helping you remember your spelling words, telling your legs to run during recess, and making sure you don't forget to eat your lunch. It's like a beehive with everyone buzzing around doing their special jobs. But when bedtime comes, something magical happens. The factory doesn't shut down. Instead, it switches to night mode. When you start getting sleepy, a special group of workers in your brain factory starts producing something called melatonin. Think of melatonin as sleepy dust. It's like the Sandman's special powder that makes your eyes feel heavy and your body feel cozy. These workers start making more and more sleepy dust as it gets darker outside. That's why you feel more tired at night than during the day. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Your brain factory has two main bosses who take turns being in charge. Let's call them Mr. Awake and Miss Sleep. Mr. Awake is in charge during the day. He's energetic, loves to play, and keeps all your muscles ready for action. Miss Sleep takes over at night. She's calm, peaceful, and makes sure your body gets the rest it needs to grow big and strong. When Miss Sleep takes charge, she does something super important. She tells the muscle workers to take a break. She literally sends them home for the night. This is called REM atonia. But we can just call it the muscle sleep switch. She flips this switch so you don't act out your dreams. Remember how we talked about dreaming of playing soccer? Without this switch, you might actually try to kick the ball in your sleep and hurt yourself. But here's the tricky part. And this is where sleep paralysis comes in. Sometimes, when you're waking up, there's a mix-up at the factory. Your consciousness workers, the ones who help you think and see, clock in for their shift, but the muscle workers are still at home because no one remembered to call them back to work. Miss Creaston. Sleep forgot to flip the muscle switch back on before Mr. Awake took over. This mix-up usually only lasts for a few seconds or maybe a minute or two. It's like when your computer is starting up and some programs load faster than others. Your thinking program loads first, but your moving program is still loading. While you're waiting for everything to sync up, you're stuck in this weird in-between place where you're awake but can't move. The reason some people see or feel scary things during this time is because another part of the brain factory, let's call it the dream department, might still be partially open for business. The dream department usually only works when you're fully asleep, creating all those wild adventures you have at night. But during sleep paralysis, some dream workers might still be at their desks, accidentally sending dream images into your awake mind. It's like when you're watching TV and two channels get mixed up, and you see both shows at the same time. Your brain factory also has a special alarm system called the amygdala. Let's call it the worry center. When you can't move and don't understand why, the worry center sounds the alarm bells. It's trying to protect you by making you super alert to danger. But since there's no real danger, just a temporary glitch in the system, the worry center might create imaginary dangers to explain why you feel scared. It's like when you hear a strange noise at night and your imagination turns it into a monster, even though it's just the cat knocking something over. The good news is that your brain factory is really good at fixing these mix-ups quickly. The muscle workers always come back, the dream department always closes properly, and Mr. Awake always gets everything running smoothly again. It's just that sometimes, for a few moments, things get a little jumbled. And now that you know it's just your brain factory having a tiny mix-up, it's not so scary anymore, is it? Have you ever noticed how some kids are really good at certain things? Like how Emma in your class can do backflips, but Tom is amazing at drawing dinosaurs? Well, getting sleep paralysis is kind of like that too. Some people just experience it more than others, and there are some really interesting reasons why. First, let's talk about sleep positions. Yes, how you sleep actually matters. Scientists who are like detectives for our bodies discovered something super cool. People who sleep on their backs get sleep paralysis way more often than people who sleep on their sides or tummies. Imagine your body is like a light switch. When you sleep on your back, it's easier for the switch to get stuck in that weird in-between position. When you sleep on your side, the switch works more smoothly. It's like how some doors in your house might be easier to open than others. Same idea. Now, here's something that might surprise you. Teenagers get sleep paralysis more than little kids or grown-ups. Why? Well, when you become a teenager, your body goes through lots of changes. It's like your body is updating to Body 2. During this update, your sleep factory we talked about earlier has to learn new patterns and timings. Sometimes, while it's learning, it makes more mistakes with that muscle switch. It's like when you get a new video game and keep pressing the wrong buttons until you learn the controls. Stress is another big reason why some people get the sleep freeze more often. You know how when you're worried about a big test or excited about your birthday party, it's harder to fall asleep? Well, stress makes your brain factory work overtime, even when it should be resting. When your brain is super busy worrying, it sometimes forgets to flip all the right switches in the right order. Think of it like trying to get dressed while running. You might put your shirt on backwards or forget your socks. Family patterns play a role too. If your mom, dad, or grandparents have experienced sleep paralysis, you might be more likely to experience it too. It's like how some families all have curly hair or are all really tall. Your body's instruction manual, what scientists call genes, might include a note that says, sometimes forgets to turn the muscle switch back on right away. It's not a bad thing. It's just one of those quirky things that makes your family special. Sleep schedules matter a ton. Kids who stay up super late playing video games or watching YouTube, then have to wake up early for school, are more likely to get sleep paralysis. Your brain factory works best when it has a regular schedule, like how you have math at the same time every day at school. When you keep changing your sleep times, your brain factory gets confused. It's like if your teacher suddenly decided to have lunch at 8 a.m. and math class at midnight, everything would feel mixed up. Here's a really interesting discovery. People who are super creative and have big imaginations tend to experience sleep paralysis more often. Artists, writers, and musicians report having it more than other people. Scientists think this might be because creative people's dream departments in their brain factories are extra powerful. They're so good at creating images and stories that sometimes these creations spill over into the waking world during those mixed-up moments. Some medications and foods can also make sleep paralysis more likely. You know how some foods give you energy, like when mom says sugar will make you hyper, and some make you sleepy, like warm milk? Well, certain medicines that doctors give people can affect how the sleep switches in your brain work. Even eating big meals right before bed can increase the chances. It's like your body is trying to digest food and manage sleep at the same time, and it gets overwhelmed. People who have certain sleep conditions also experience sleep paralysis more. For example, people with something called narcolepsy, where they fall asleep suddenly during the day, get sleep paralysis a lot. Their sleep factories have different wiring than most people's, kind of like how some cars run on electricity instead of gas. They work differently but still get you where you need to go. Travel and jet lag can trigger it too. When you fly to a different country, your body gets confused about when it's supposed to be awake or asleep. Your brain factory is still following the old schedule while trying to adjust to the new one. It's like when daylight saving time happens and everyone feels weird for a few days. But even more intense. The really cool thing is that once you know what makes sleep paralysis more likely, you can actually do things to make it less likely. It's like learning the patterns in a video game. Once you know what causes the problems, you can avoid them or prepare for them. Get ready for some of the coolest, spookiest, and most amazing stories from around the world. Long before scientists figured out what sleep paralysis really was, people everywhere were trying to explain this mysterious experience. And boy, did they come up with some wild explanations. It's like a giant game of telephone that's been going on for thousands of years, with each culture adding their own special twist to the story. In many English-speaking countries, people used to call sleep paralysis old hag syndrome. They believed that a mean old witch would sit on people's chests while they slept, stealing their breath and making them unable to move. Imagine waking up and thinking there's an actual witch on top of you. People were so scared that they would hang special herbs over their beds or put iron horseshoes under their pillows to keep the witch away. It's like having a monster spray, but for witches. In Japan, they have something called kanashibari, which means being bound by metal. Japanese folklore tells stories of vengeful spirits who would magically tie people up with invisible ropes while they slept. Some people believed it was the spirits of warriors who died in battle, coming back to paralyze the living. Japanese families would sometimes call in special priests to bless their homes and chase away these spirits. They even made special paper talismans like magical stickers to put on bedroom walls for protection. The most interesting part about the Japanese stories is that they're super detailed. They describe exactly what we now know as sleep paralysis, the feeling of pressure, the inability to move, and seeing shadowy figures. It's like they were scientists before science existed. carefully observing and recording what happened, just explaining it with magic instead of brain chemistry. In Mexico and many Spanish-speaking countries, people tell stories of La Pisadera, or Se me subió el muerto, the dead person got on top of me. They believed that the spirits of people who died with unfinished business would visit the living and sit on them while they slept. Families would leave offerings of food and flowers to keep these spirits happy, kind of like leaving cookies for Santa, but for ghosts instead. Scandinavian countries like Norway and Sweden have stories about the mare or Mara, an evil spirit that rides on people's chests at night. This is actually where we get the word nightmare from. It literally means nightmare. People thought this spirit looked like a small goblin, or sometimes like a beautiful woman who would transform into a monster. They would put knives under their beds or create special symbols on their doors to keep the mare away. In Turkey, they call it karabasan, which describes a dark spirit, or jinn, like a genie, but scary, that attacks people in their sleep. Turkish grandmothers would tell children to always say special prayers before bed and to never sleep with their arms crossed over their chest because that would invite the karabasan to visit. Some families even put copies of holy books under pillows for protection. African cultures have numerous different explanations. In Nigeria, some people believe in Ogun Oru, a nighttime battle where your spirit fights against evil forces while your body stays frozen. In Ethiopia, there's a belief in the Dukak, an evil spirit that possesses people at night. Many African cultures see sleep paralysis as a sign that someone needs spiritual cleansing or that they've been cursed by an enemy. In Cambodia, people tell stories of Kamauch Sangkat, ghosts that push you down when you sleep. They believe these spirits are jealous of the living and try to steal their energy. Cambodian families sometimes sleep with scissors open under their beds, carefully of course, because they believe the spirits are afraid of sharp metal objects. Chinese culture has pinyin, where people believe you're being pressed by a ghost oppression. In some regions of China, they think sleep paralysis happens when your soul temporarily leaves your body to travel, and a ghost takes the opportunity to hold your empty body down so your soul can't get back in. It's like someone stealing your parking spot while you're at the store. One of the most famous creatures associated with sleep paralysis is the incubus and succubus from European medieval times. These were supposedly demons that would visit people at night. People were so convinced these creatures were real that they would have trials and create special religious ceremonies to protect against them. They even had instruction manuals on how to identify if someone had been visited by these demons. Native American cultures have various beliefs too. Some tribes believed that sleep paralysis was a visit from the spirit world, and that during these moments, you could receive important messages or visions about the future. Instead of being scared, some saw it as a special spiritual experience, like getting a phone call from the spirit world. What's absolutely fascinating is that even though these cultures had no way to talk to each other back then, no internet, no phones, no planes, they all describe the same basic experience. Can't move, feeling of pressure on the chest, seeing scary things. It's like everyone around the world was trying to solve the same puzzle but coming up with different answers based on their beliefs and stories. Today, we know that all these different creatures and spirits were just different cultures' ways of trying to explain the same scientific phenomenon. But these stories are still important because they show us how creative and imaginative humans are when trying to understand mysterious experiences. And honestly, some of these old protection methods, like having a regular bedtime routine or sleeping in certain positions, actually do help prevent sleep paralysis. Ancient people figured out some of the solutions without even knowing the real science. All right, future sleep superhero, this is where you learn all the secret tricks and special moves to defeat sleep paralysis. Think of this like getting your own instruction manual for the ultimate video game boss battle. The best part? These tricks really work. And once you know them, you'll never have to be afraid of sleep paralysis again. You might even think it's kind of cool when it happens. First, let's learn the wiggle technique. This is your main superpower. When you're in sleep paralysis and can't move your whole body, there are usually some tiny parts that can still move just a little bit. Start by trying to wiggle your toes or fingers. Even the tiniest movement counts. It's like when you're trying to break free from a really tight hug. You start small and work your way out. Focus all your superhero energy on just your pinky finger or your big toe. Once you get even the smallest wiggle going, it's like dominoes. The movement spreads, and suddenly your whole body wakes up. Next up is the eye power move. Your eyes are often the first things that can move during sleep paralysis. Try moving them really fast from side to side, or blinking super hard. It's like sending a secret signal to your brain saying, "Hey, wake everything else up." Some people say that trying to cross their eyes works really well too. Your eyes are like the emergency override button for your body's sleep system. Here's a super cool trick: the cough command. Try to cough or clear your throat. Even though you might not be able to talk, the cough reflex often still works. It's like your body's secret password to unlock movement. The effort of trying to cough can jolt your system back online. Some people also try to scrunch up their face really hard, making the silliest, scrunchiest face they can imagine. The calm breath technique is like meditation for superheroes. Instead of panicking, focus on taking slow, deep breaths. Count them. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. This tells your brain, everything is okay, we're safe. You can turn the muscles back on now. When you stay calm, the sleep paralysis usually goes away much faster. It's like when you're untangling headphones. If you yank and pull, they get worse, but if you're patient and gentle, they come apart easily. Now, let's talk about prevention, because the best fight is the one you don't have to have. Creating a sleep shield routine is your first line of defense. Go to bed at the same time every night. Yes, even on weekends. I know, but trust me, your brain loves routines more than anything. It's like training your brain factory workers to always flip the right switches in the right order. The position power is another prevention trick. Remember how we learned that sleeping on your back makes sleep paralysis more likely? Well, you can train yourself to sleep on your side. Put a tennis ball in a sock and pin it to the back of your pajamas. If you roll onto your back, the ball will be uncomfortable, and you'll naturally roll back to your side. It's like having a gentle reminder to stay in the safe position. Here's something really important: the stress buster arsenal. Since stress makes sleep paralysis more likely, you need ways to fight stress before bed. Try the worry window. Spend 10 minutes before bed writing down everything you're worried about on a piece of paper. Then fold it up and put it in a special box. Tell your worries, "I'll deal with you tomorrow." It's like putting your problems in timeout while you sleep. The screen time shield is crucial too. Those tablets, phones, and TVs, they shoot special blue light into your eyes that tells your brain, "Stay awake, it's still daytime." Turn them off at least an hour before bed. Instead, try the boring book technique. Read something kind of boring, maybe that history textbook, to help your brain shift into sleep mode naturally. Create your own sleep sanctuary. Make your bedroom the perfect sleep fortress. Keep it cool. Your body sleeps better when it's a bit chilly. Dark hues curtains or an eye mask. You can pretend you're a sleep ninja. And quiet or use white noise like a fan. Some kids like to have a special stuffed animal or blanket that makes them feel safe. That's totally cool and actually helps. Here's a secret weapon many people don't know about: the reality check technique. If you're in sleep paralysis and seeing scary things, remind yourself it's not real by doing math in your head, like 2 + 2 = 4, 3 + 3 = 6, or reciting the alphabet. This activates the logical part of your brain and helps chase away the scary hallucinations. It's like turning on the lights to show there's no monster, except you're turning on your logic lights. The story flip method is super fun. If you see something scary during sleep paralysis, try to imagine it doing something silly instead. That shadow monster, imagine it wearing a tutu and doing ballet. That pressure on your chest, pretend it's a fluffy cat that just wants cuddles. You're the director of your own mind movie, so make it funny instead of scary. If sleep paralysis happens a lot, you might want to try the Sleep Detective Journal. Keep a notebook by your bed and write down when it happens. What you ate that day, how stressed you were, what position you slept in, and anything else you notice. You might discover your own personal patterns, like maybe it only happens when you eat pizza late at night or after you play video games too long. Once you know your triggers, you can avoid them. Remember the morning victory dance. If you successfully beat sleep paralysis, or even if you just experience it without being scared, celebrate. Do a little dance. Tell someone about your victory, or give yourself a gold star on a chart. You're training your brain to see sleep paralysis as a challenge you can beat, not something to fear. The ultimate secret? Knowledge is your superpower. Now that you understand what sleep paralysis really is, just a temporary glitch in your brain's sleep factory, it loses its scariness. You know it will always end, usually in less than a minute. You know it can't actually hurt you, and you know exactly what to do when it happens. Some kids who learn all these techniques actually start hoping for sleep paralysis to happen so they can practice their skills. They see it as a chance to explore what their brain can do. Some even learn to turn sleep paralysis into lucid dreams, where they can control everything that happens. It's like discovering you have a secret portal to an adventure world that only you can access. Congratulations, sleep warrior. You've just completed your training and learned all the secrets about one of the most mysterious things that can happen when we sleep. You now know more about sleep paralysis than most grown-ups do. You understand the science, the stories, and most importantly, the solutions. You're like a detective, scientist, and superhero all rolled into one. Remember, sleep paralysis is just your amazing brain getting a tiny bit confused about when to turn your muscles back on. It's not dangerous. It's not supernatural. And it definitely can't hurt you. It's actually proof of how incredible your brain is. It's protecting you even when it makes little mistakes. And now you have all the tools you need to handle it like a champion if it ever happens to you. The coolest part? You can share this knowledge with others. If your friends or family ever experience sleep paralysis, you can be the expert who explains what's really happening and teaches them the tricks to make it stop. You're officially a sleep paralysis ambassador, spreading knowledge and defeating fear wherever you go. Sweet dreams, brave explorer. May your sleep be peaceful, your dreams be awesome, and may you always remember that you're stronger than any sleep freeze that comes your way.